Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to Breaking Bricks. I'm your host, Neil. You know, today we've got some work we're going to do today. We're going to actually work on the park a little bit. As you can see, I've actually gotten a little bit done, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. But before we get started, I want to talk about Brick Convention. As you can see, I got my Brick Convention shirt on, and that's because next weekend, August 15th and 16th, I will be in Youngstown, Ohio at the Metroplex Expo Center. Come check me out if you're in the area. Of course, you know Ohio, Northeast Ohio is my hometown, so I'm hoping to see all my peeps from Akron, Cleveland, and of course Kent and everywhere around. So without that being said, you know, you can also come and see me the following weekend on August 22nd and 23rd. I will be in Flint, Michigan, and that is at the Dort Financial Center. So, you know, if you're in that area, you know, come check out and see what we got going on. And of course, after that, we're one convention away from being done for the rest of the year. It will be the big one for me for this year, and I'm looking forward to doing it because, of course, you know, we're going to hang out and have a good time with some friends and everybody, and we'll get into that in a different episode. But today we are going to work on the park. Now, normally I preach put your wiring and stuff in long before you start to build, because it's a pain in the ass to rip it all apart or try to get in there and add that wiring. But this is one of those rare times where I didn't have them, but of course they came in the mail. We finally got them, and of course we've got the LED kit for the market that we're going to work on. Not today, but what came in with that LED kit is 4 street lamps. I want to put those inside the park. I think a little bit of light in there is just going to make it really outstanding. So we're going to take a look at the park of what I've gotten done, because, you know, in my spare time when I was home before I took off to Cincinnati, I wanted to get some work done on this, and I did. And of course, you know, I know better. Like I said, normally you put your wiring in first, and I didn't do it this time. So to show you the example of what a pain in the ass it's going to be, you know, we're going to have to rip part of it apart, redo it. I'm hoping it comes out as good as it is now. And we'll talk about why I kind of went ahead and started working on it. Here we go. All right, my friends, as you can see, we have an up-close look here. And as you can see, I'm a Star Wars builder by trade. I do a lot of Star Wars, big build kind of stuff. So doing parks, buildings is kind of a quick new thing for me. Now, I've done landscaping before, because you need to, you know, as far as planets and everything else, but I've never done a lake or any kind of water. The things that I've done has been loose brick poured into a stream kind of deal, which is fine and effective in another kind of way. So this is a kind of a different technique that I've been wanting to pull. I had the pieces, so I went ahead and pulled it. But I used a variety of pieces when I did for the lake. I used dark blue and some light blues to kind of add some color texture to it. And then I add the translucents on top rather than just putting the translucents on top of black. But these first two right here, this is actually 4 different mills here that this fits on. And I'm going to pull the first one here and just kind of pop it out, as you can see. Normally the wires would be running through here into here and vice versa, which we are going to add. So we've got to figure that out. And of course, there's the next mill, how it comes out. And then we have the other 2 mills, which are still attached, but I have to unplug them because the power, there is one cable that runs through both of these to attach it to the Avengers Tower. I just ran out of cables. So we are going to do some installation of some cables and a USB port. Now this will allow me to add 1 street lamp to each one of these, and we're going to probably put them like just to represent within the corners of the park. So there's a little bit of light in here. And then once I get a few more of them, then we'll add them to the outside to the street as well. But right now I just went with 4. because, you know, I'm not made of money. I've got a job. You know, we all have to work to pay for this, and we all know that Lego in general is expensive. So to add lights or anything more than what the Lego set provides always costs a little bit more, and you're going to work twice as hard to do it. So you appreciate what you have just that much more. So let's just get to work. All right, so ultimately, pulling these things apart after you build on them, like I said, my original statement, it's a pain in the ass, and I'm not changing my mind with it now. As you can see, we just got to keep taking them apart until we get them kind of ready to go. Now the wiring, it's one wire, one box per section. Now I bought better wiring, but we're going to use all the wiring I bought plus the 2 boxes and then 2 more that I have. So all my spares are gone. But this is the price you pay to put LEDs into your build. Alright, so this first section went by pretty easy. I'm pretty impressed. Now I'm still adding all the wiring, so it could still go horribly wrong. Overall though, I'm surprised it hasn't. So I'm still waiting for that one moment where it's just going to go all bad. But surprisingly enough, this section went right back together beautifully. Alright, so we're going to put some of the stuff back in and move on to the next section here. Section 2 of the park for one more light. Now ultimately what I'd like to do is come back into these later on and add another street light to the outside of the street as well. But that's in time. You got to keep in mind each one of those lights is $5. You put enough of them in here, you know, you're talking, you know, quite a bit of money, especially to a city this scale. So we do it a little bit by little bit by little bit. Ultimately, over a long period of time, it looks beautiful. Alright, so this one went back together pretty well. So we are going to move on to another section. Alright, so these sections are on a bigger plate. That one came off really easy. We just got to get into it a little bit more. Figure out where the wiring is going to run through, and that was pretty easy here. Once again, I got to say, it seems to be pretty smooth. Man, that has me a little worried because stuff tends to go wrong at one point or another here. Alright, we'll get it back together here a little bit. And then we're going to pull this fourth section into place and get that one done. Alright, so this one has 3 road sections because it's a corner piece. We got our pry in, which is where we're going in at. Alright, seems to work hard. Alright, so it's time to get into it. And then, wow, I gotta say, so far so good. Wow, it's running really smooth. Too smooth. But it seems to be not working so well here. The wire's not hanging in. Oh man, here it is. And screw you. Now I just got to rip it all apart. This is why you put it in at the beginning of your build. Get it in place. It's in there. You got it going. You know what's going on. Then you build. And then you don't have to rip it apart like that. Yeah, I think it worked out that way just because it's a corner piece. The other ones were not. Alright, so normally when I do a lake, I I think it came out beautiful. All right, I went ahead and dimmed the lights down so we could see these lights a little better. For the most part, it really wasn't too bad. Of course, the first 3 lamps went in pretty easy, but that 4th one I had to dissect the whole plate, and it's because it has 2 roads attached to it. It's the crossroad section here, the whole mill, so it runs in the middle, and unfortunately there was less mill plate there because of the road, so it came apart. To get the wiring in there right, I just ended up having to strip it down a little bit more, which ultimately I did get it back together. Not quite the same way I wanted to, but ultimately it did come out pretty well. All right, so we are going to turn off the rest of the light here just to give it a little bit more of what you're going to see in a dark situation there. I mean, overall, it looks pretty good. Just staring at those lights, you can see the walks and the pathways and the people doing their thing. And of course, you see the guy fishing there. That's actually Nestor from Lego Masters Season 1. And you got some other things going on there too. And into the back of the park, in this area here, right in the back, I haven't exactly decided what I'm going to do there. I had an idea, but I changed my mind. I'm thinking maybe a little cemetery just to fill the space in the meantime until something better comes along. Like I said, all this is just a placeholder. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the work I got done, the way it came out, and how it all happened. All right, my friends, that's all we got time for this week. Of course, we've got the LED kit for this building here, which I think we need to spend some time getting that done, get it all together. I did modify the market to fit within the city, so we're going to have some extra parts and pieces because it's not a complete set. Like I just said, I modified it to fit my city, so some things came out, new things went in, and we'll get into that into a whole nother episode. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the park episode, and if you like what you saw here today, go ahead and hit that like button. Lets me know I did a good job and suggests this kind of content to anybody out there that might be into it. Of course, you want to talk Lego, City, Star Wars Lego, go ahead and put that down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And of course, we cannot grow here as a family unless you smash that subscribe button. It takes you a mere half second, but for me, it really does mean an awful lot. And I'll see you here next time on Breaking Bricks.